Welcome to another video. I am going to answer a question that was in the comment section of the last one. It was from Chris Nameless. Chris Nameless. That was his name. Chris Nameless. He asked, did I get to shoot any of the footage from the movie while I was on set, or if it was all hired crew? And the answer to that is no. I absolutely did not. It's not my profession in terms of the movie industry. I have been professionally shooting video and editing video for over 20 years now. So yes, I'm more than capable of doing that. But to direct a movie, be in a movie, and shoot a movie is impossible. And I know I'm not in every scene, but still, I would rather not touch the camera. It's a big camera. I've never used it before. There's no reason for me to step over what I really need to do. We hire people to do certain jobs, and that's their jobs, and just rely on them to do it. Photographer, and then with this camera, the Arri Alexa, you have to have 2 camera assistants to go along with it. One of those camera assistants helps with actually just carrying the thing and changing the lenses, because it's hard for one person to do it. It's just so much involved into that. And then also you actually have to have somebody pull the focus. So when the cinematographer is going into a shot, you have somebody else who's pulling the focus, which it's so hard to do both of those things at the same time. That's why on a movie crew, you will see that. There's not just going to be the cinematographer. He's going to have somebody help him pull the focus and then slate things and all that stuff as well. And then you get the gaffer, the lighter, who work in tandem with the cinematographer. Both of those, that's their job to get the image looking the best it can. So that is, yeah, that's the reason, that's the reason we raised funds for this, is to do it the way it needs to be done to make it look and be the best it can be, and hiring people that know what they're doing, and that's their job, is the route to go that we wanted to go. We didn't, I mean, if it was just us going out and shooting not like we normally do with Game Chasers, what's the point of what's the point of trying to raise funds for it, and it just doesn't, it's not Blair Witch Project or anything like that, right? So we wanted to do things correctly and make it be the best it could be. And the second question was, what was the challenging thing about the shooting that as opposed to Game Chasers? I would say every shot, every frame is kind of like, you have to look at it as a work of art. When you're out and shooting Game Chasers, you point the camera, whatever happens. You don't worry about making the shot look pretty. You don't worry so much, actually, for us, with what the lighting situation is. As long as nothing's like overblown or you can see it, it's fine. It's just run and gun, documentary type style. It's just, you're not really worried about the cinematography and the lighting and stuff when we go out and shoot Game Chasers. That all changes when you're shooting a movie. Every frame has to look a certain way, and before you can even start shooting, it takes hours to set up a shot or set up a scene. And so the lighting has to be perfect. The light meter, they have to go over the light meters and see what the light readings are, and move all the lights a certain way to get the effect that you need to get, and to make sure everything looks good in the camera. And then you shoot it, and then we need to get covered, so we need to move the camera another direction. And once you move that camera another direction, look at another way, you have to redo the entire lighting for the entire scene again. Because now you're looking at it a different way, so the lighting has to be a different way. And you have to bounce back and do that every time. So, it's not just, hey, turn on the camera, let's start shooting, we'll run our lines, and whatever happens, happens. You can't do it that way. Everything has to be a lot more fine-tuned, extremely more fine-tuned than just your standard, hey, let's just go out and shoot at a flea market or a thrift store or something of that nature. That's the challenging part, and you don't get, there's a lot on the stake. There's a lot of stake. There's a lot on the line. There's high stakes when you're in a film, right? If we go out into the flea market and shoot, and it just doesn't turn out, and it's like, oh well, what okay, we'll just go out next weekend. Sucks, but we'll just go out next weekend and get it. You don't have that luxury in a film set. If you don't get it right that day, then you may be in high water. It could really screw you over. And because whenever you involve a lot of money on a project, then there's a lot riding on it, a lot more riding on it to get it right. So that, and in terms of editing, the only editing challenge I would say is that it's a lot more involved, because you have to do certain things with the audio, certain things with the music, certain things with the picture, to make sure it's all in specs and can play on all the TVs and all that stuff. You have to be a lot more thorough with everything. Sometimes with Game Chasers, I let certain things slide or whatever, because it's an internet show. I put a lot more care into it when I'm mastering it to put on Blu-rays and stuff, because people are going to be watching it on televisions and stuff like that. But when it comes to the movie, it's just like you have to give it a little bit more care, and that's why on movies in post-production, whether it be shooting it or in post-production, there are so many different people. They have one specific job. They have one specific job to clean up the dialogue, one specific job to mix the music or do the Foley or sound design, or coloring the film, and then you just have the editor who just edits, and that's all they do. So you have, you can have dozens of people potentially, in post-production, just doing they have one job, and that's just because it is so involved. Just getting, as many people as you can to just be really super excellent at that one job. Obviously I'm kind of like a one-man band on certain things in this. I'm not writing the music, and I'm not, there's somebody else that's going to be mixing the audio, but I am somebody else cleaning up the dialogue and stuff like that. But I'm coloring it as well as editing it. I am doing Foley and audio design, so I'm doing more than just plain simple editing. But I don't find it's not so much of a challenge, because I know what to do, and it's fun to me. So I wouldn't say it's a challenge. It's just, I guess, maybe a challenge to get it right. I guess, to make sure everything is in specs and proper. That can be a challenge, but overall I don't think it's more of a challenge. There are certain things that it's a little bit easier to do, like coloring and stuff. It's a lot easier to do with this high quality footage than it would be if our Game Chasers camera. It's more color depth. It's easier to work with. With that said, having it be easier to work with, you have to actually spend more time getting it right and make sure it's right. So it's kind of like a catch-22, I guess you could say. But anyway, I hope that answers your question. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask below. So take care.